Welcome, Hearties. This is Heart to Heart, and this is our brand new forum in which we're going to be talking about the spectacular season 9 that's coming very, very soon this Sunday on the Hallmark Channel. I am Marg Stark. I'm one of the Facebook admins, and I am joined by other Facebook admins. We're going to be taking turns this season, speaking to some of your favorite When Calls the Heart cast and crew. And we're starting tonight with our amazing showrunner, John Tinker. So
I wasn't
I'm
your
Marg.
first choice, though, was I, Marg?
You are always our first choice and our last. So it's so good to see you from Buckingham Palace.
There, I'm waiting on the Queen.
So I'm Marg. I'm from San Diego. Everybody else want to introduce yourselves?
Sure. This is Dawn, and I'm the moderator in the Facebook page, and I'm in Texas.
I'm Lori Pearson. I'm from Alabama.
And I'm Kim McDonald from Ontario, Canada.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that information.
There you go.
That's lovely. What a diversity.
We do. We have also Chelsea joining us this season as a special correspondent who's from Puerto Rico.
Chelsea is so positive and uplifting. She creates great content. I've been tended and failed badly at writing her and thanking her. So Chelsea, if you're listening and watching, thank you.
And there's another Facebook admin, Destiny, from Australia too. So we try to span the world.
That's spanning the globe. You are. That's great.
Gives us 24 hours coverage.
Hey, before we begin, speaking of the fans, this Jenny Kazmiski made this for me. It's a wreath. It's so cute.
Jenny from Georgia.
It says love is kind, love is space. It's all kinds of charms on it, and it doesn't show. It doesn't show. Look at that. There it is.
Yeah, put it in front of me.
And it's what it means so much to me. Not that I get presents, though. That was terrifically meaningful to me. She said, we're hoping and praying for you guys and everything. I just, this group,
great.
With the group. So thank you all. And we just, your support is so meaningful. It's what makes the job even more special.
So we're just welcoming John, and it's been a few months since we've heard from you, and a lot of people are asking about Rhonda. Give us a little update on how you're doing and how Rhonda's doing.
We're doing well. We were sequestered. We got our shots like everyone else, and just kind of hunkered down for a very long time. And I think it's what's contributed to what we were discussing earlier, guys, which was, forgive me if I seem as though season 9 has already aired. It feels a bit like it has. It's been so long, but it hasn't. And I'm excited that it's starting finally Sunday, the 6th at 9 p.m. Very excited. And Rhonda will join us from time to time. Sierra will not. Sierra's got more work on her plate than ever as a college professor, but there is a nod to Sierra in the very first episode, and it's pretty easy to catch. So we thank her for that.
So we'll be looking for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You will see that. If you miss it, then you need to look up from your tweets while you're tweeting and watching the show.
Lori, you want to start us off with questions?
Sure. How different is it to be the seasoned veteran showrunner now, as opposed to last season when you were the brand new showrunner for When Calls the Heart?
The real difference is you want to do, I won't say top yourself in the all of us in the writers' room. You just want to continue to be better or evolve, and I think we're all very excited about the upcoming season. And when we got in the room, we spent a goodly amount of time debating where we might be going this season. Just as the showrunner, getting to, well, unfortunately, I spent all of my time here in Georgia. I didn't get to go up this season. I was encouraged to stay here due to the COVID restrictions. And it makes such a difference to anyone who's doing commuting by internet. So I missed being up there. That's what I wish I could have been up there. I think it would feel more like I was a veteran of 2 seasons. I still feel like I've only been a veteran of one. But it's just a huge blessing to be a part of the show. I really couldn't be happier to be a part of the show. So I'm still as happier. There's the big difference. Happier than I was season 8.
That's great. We're excited to bring you some questions from the Hearties themselves as well. Peg Minarski from Galway, New York asked, can we hear a bit more about the new characters appearing in season 9?
You can hear a very little bit, because to my recollection, there are really only 3 characters who come in consequentially you haven't met before. 2 folks come in wanting to finalize a deal for the purchase of the oil company. And then, of course, the biggest surprise is May Sue, who rides into Hope Valley under mysterious circumstances. As you guys know, we have a huge ensemble cast, and one thing we all like to do is to try and service all of those characters, and their stories are very big this year. And when I think about the season, Gowan's a huge story, and Rosemary and Lee have a huge story, and Elizabeth and Lucas and Nathan, of course, has a huge story. So there are big stories, and there's not a lot of time to bring in folks from the outside and develop those characters. The plan at the beginning of the season was, in fact, to hopefully bring in Lucas's mom again, but she does not appear. And we'd like to do that. We just need a little more time. Hallmark, hear us? We need some more time or episodes. So those are 3 characters who will come in, 2 from the oil company. There are other folks who come back and around. One of the Pinkertons comes back around, and someone comes to shake down the town. But for the most part, it's our regulars. And we like that. We like the regulars. If we can tell the stories with the regulars, that's great. But we did try and wrap up other stories of characters we'd brought in before.
Oh, that's great. We gather there's some characters who we may not see in season 9 as well.
There are, well, talk about 3s. There are 3 who, unfortunately, for various and sundry reasons, weren't able to come back yet, at least. Carson, I guess I'm not giving anything away. Carson Shepard is busy doing his rotation at Johns Hopkins. And then Clara and Jesse are on an adventure of their own. Now, we've kept them all alive, and I don't mean that in the literal sense, though they are. We'd love to have them back. And if we can do that, if it fits their schedule and we can do that as well, that is something that we all look forward to. I've heard Hearties talk about, not Hearties maybe, but I've heard some people talk about characters falling into black holes. And I don't like that. None of the writers do. And it's, again, typically a matter of practicality of how much screen time and screen real estate you have and the kinds of stories you're telling.
Can you just say a few words about Highland, because he's new to
Highland? I've met him in person. He bonded quickly with Peter DeLuise and Elizabeth, Aaron Krakow, and Chris McNally bonded with him quickly too. You just, if you don't love him from the get-go, you better check your pulse. He's pretty darn sweet. The twins were terrific too, but they just had it. And when I say that, they just lost interest, and that happens. And I have to applaud their parents for not pushing them. And it was not an easy decision for the parents. And I think that the kids miss it too. But if you just don't have the interest and you're not like being there, and as much as we love them, they called one day and said, I think they've hit the wall. And again, there's nothing more important than a child having his or her childhood. So we're hoping they continue to come around and visit. But Highland's pretty swell.
Wonderful. So Erica LeGrand Robinson, who is from Treasure Island, Florida.
Cut it out.
What? I know. What a great, amazing place to be from. She wants the scoop on the poster that just came out, in which Lucas is featured. There's 3 new posters in which there's individual characters. There was Elizabeth, Nathan, and Lucas. And Lucas's has this funny little tagline up at the top that says, "He has the woman of his dreams. Will his past affect his future?" So, there is a little lingering among a small group of distrust of Lucas, even though you all have assured us that he's on the up and up. So she's asking, does that contribute to it? And talk to us a little bit about that, the poster versus.
Okay. He is on the up and up. He's been honest. There things will come to light, but nothing that is going to cause anyone to drop their teacup and saucer as a revelation. I love Hallmark. I do enjoy very much working there, but I think this poster is slightly misleading this season. I don't want to give anything away, but I wouldn't bank necessarily on the story that the poster tells. Again, it's their job, and they do it well, to tell a story in one frame. But for me and the other writers, and to their credit, I haven't heard from any of the actors, but there's so much more to this show than just those characters you see in the poster. And of course we love those characters, but there are others as well. And it's maybe I was raised this way. When I worked on a show called St. Elsewhere, we had a number of people who were breaking out in that show. Denzel Washington was breaking out, and David Morse was breaking out. And there were constant requests from TV Guide to feature them on the cover. And Bruce Paltrow said, forget it. You take them all or you have none. So we never had a cover, but this is very much also an ensemble series with Elizabeth Thatcher, Elizabeth Thornton at the center as the hub, and a lot of orbiting characters who I find interesting and compelling. And I wish that they were getting a little more attention. It's probably a little long-winded of an answer, but
no worries. I think a lot of people don't understand that the storytellers don't necessarily have control over the way.
Unfortunately, we didn't have any conversations. I'm loving what they're doing, if not giving too much away with the sneak peeks, but I'm loving a lot of that. They're doing fabulous jobs, and their artwork is terrific. I mean, they have to come up with a new concept. It's difficult. You're going into the 9th season of a show to come up with something that's eye-catching and not only satisfies those folks who have been ardent fans, but you're hoping to entice and interest new folks into the tent. So I don't have any complaints.
You would reiterate that there's no reason for us to fear that Lucas is going to have a terrible streak in him. He's going to be
absolutely not
upstanding gentleman.
He is absolutely an upstanding gentleman. And at the same time, all I would say, and this applies to every character, in particular, Nathan and any of those folks who are disgruntled, these, the writers and everyone, because I believe it's a collaborative effort and we all contribute. Everyone, even outside the writers' room, contributes. And we're on journeys. We're hopefully taking these characters on long journeys. Would like to be writing and producing the show a long time. And things are going to happen that you may not always like, but ultimately we want these characters to succeed, and we want these characters to be inspirational, and we want these people, the characters themselves, to be happy. And so there'll be things that are discouraging or upsetting, but that's what I love about the town. That's what it is. It's a community, it's a family, and it's about encouragement and hope and love and forgiveness and all of those good things.
Before we move on to Lori's next question, do you want to say a word about Nathan and his character development this season?
I hope folks hang in there. I don't think I hope people don't think we're picking on him, because everything, including this mustache, we all talk about, and that's not to throw off any responsibility the writers have, but we talk about things, and Kevin McGarry is very vocal, and I mean that in a positive way. And, Chris McNally is very vocal. They're all very vocal, because more often than not, if you've been playing a character for as long as these folks have, they know the characters better than we do often, and it's a collaborative effort, as I've said. And Kevin has certain things that he doesn't want to do, and it's not important for me to lay those out now, and they could change for Kevin, but we always like hearing what he and the other actors have to say. So I think what I can say in a single sentence is that Kevin's interested, and we are interested in him taking a journey and his character evolving, and not simple resolutions presenting themselves.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, still talking a bit about Nathan. There, lots of Hearties are really curious. What was in the gift that Lucas gave Allie and Nathan at the adoption?
Okay, I'm gonna be completely naked here. We don't have a clue. We will reveal it at some point.
I love it. No
We
idea.
And we understand the longer we go without revealing it, it's better be pretty darn special when he gives it. We have some idea. I mean, we actually do have a thought, but none of us thought it was special enough. So we're going to wait to reveal that. But in all honesty, when he gave her I remember Props calling us up and said, well, is it bigger than a bread box? Is it? And we said, make it about that big. So we didn't have a clue.
It's got to be big enough to contain the specialness that's yet
right.
to come.
Well, wait a minute. It could have been a gift card, or maybe it was a big gift card.
I love it.
Wait.
Well,
right.
going to another character, we're seeing Henry in the mine and in front of the church in these previews. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us about his arc this season?
Oh, I don't want to give it. What can I tell you? We really like the arc this season. It's really good, and he's such an interesting. They're all interesting characters, but he's so interesting, and I think in part I find him interesting because Martin is so different than his character. Mm-hmm. And he's a really good actor. To take nothing away from the terrific ensemble we have. What do I say about him this year? It's a big season for him. It's a big season.
I'm so excited for that one.
Yeah, he's got a lot to do. It's a big season. Like I said, big season for many of them. And again, we try and squeeze them all in and give them season arcs that again help them. It's quiet, but Florence has a lovely season arc, and Ned does too. And it's a big season for Faith. Andrea Brooks just shines this season so well.
Wow.
So well. They're all really good actors and get better, and so do the kids. The kids are even it's so much fun to watch them come back and have developed skills that they didn't have the previous season, and there mm-hmm. you can then as a writer, we all can take them to higher and deeper places if that isn't contradictory.
Yeah, sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you alluded to it earlier already, but Kathy Adams in Oklahoma City wanted to know if any cast ideas and suggested contributed to this year's storyline. So you brushed over it. I wonder if you can give any examples without giving too much away.
They were all very vocal this year. this is no pat on the writers' back necessarily. I think they were all excited about this season, and so they were very vocal, and they were, we didn't. There's a couple of things we didn't get to. We didn't have time to get to with Kevin, with Nathan, but I think it's a very satisfying place where he winds up by the end of the season. Other stories have a bit more of a defined arc and a resolution. A lot of the stories, should there be a 10th season, and we have not heard anything, so write your local congressperson. Probably better to write Hallmark and encourage them to pick us up. 10th season would be huge. There's a lot that happens this year, but as I said, as in a season, you sort of set up what's going to happen in the rest of the season in the first few episodes. But it feels as though season 9 is just going to be an explosive 10th season, but we'll get to that when we get to that, if we can. So again, if you have any influence, you have any sway at all, get in touch with Hallmark. We
might have a little. I think the Hearties have a little influence.
The numbers always speak loud, and I'm gonna chime in here, not just for this show, but any number of shows that whoever's watching this, whether you're watching Chesapeake Shores or things on Netflix, one constant I hear is that there isn't much television like this, television that you can watch with your family, or you're not worried about having to explain things too much to your kids, or one that just seems inoffensive. And I know that's a subjective perspective, but the numbers mean a lot. Writing in always helps, and being vocal helps, but tuning in is really what helps. And that's why we're so indebted to the Hearties, and we're so indebted to anyone who's watching this show and being a consistent fan, consistent viewer.
We call that evangelization.
Oh, I like that.
All your friends to watch.
That's a good word. Evangelization. Okay.
I'm not sure who came up with it. Brian has been using it a lot. So we have a question from Caroline Richardson of Sumter, South Carolina. And she asked, what 9 words would you use to describe season 9?
Sumter, not to be confused with Fort Sumter.
I know.
Although Sumter was important during I digress. I was going to talk about the Civil War. There's enough war being talked about now. So everyone pray for folks in the Ukraine. We're helping in what way we can. Okay, 9 words.
Yes, and we were going to mention it at the end. I'm sure we have Ukrainian Hearties as well. We have a very passionate European Hearties contingent. So obviously we're thinking a lot about them. And
I know everyone, I see it. It's nice to see. 9 words. Confrontation.
Ooh.
These are, I'll try and do Scrabble words. Preservation. Here's an easy one. Love. Ambition. How many is that?
4.
Perseverance. Attachment, as in a bond, a personal bond. What's that? 6, 4, 5, 6?
Yes, sir. 6.
Forgiveness. Commitment. That's 8.
That's 8. One more. We should have the Jeopardy music going or something.
Okay, here's one. Pogonotrophy.
Okay, I'm getting my phone out.
I was going to say, Google it.
Can you spell it?
It's Pogonotrophy. It's about the growing of facial hair, whether it's sideburns or a Van Dyke, which is what Nathan has that Why? Okay, so that's Van Dyke's named after the Flemish artist Van Dyke, but it was also called a Charles after Charles I of England. Why weren't you calling it a Charles?
My goodness, that's what the mustache is called. That's what the facial hair is called.
Yes, to his credit, he very much wanted to do this. And again, unless it's going to really harm a character, unless it's going to hurt the character, or importantly, if it violates the history of a character. I love it when actors want to do something like that. He had no idea. He just thought, and it does, it informs his character. He just thought it was something to do. I can't say it was a resounding and welcomed bit of facial hair by some people in the set. And in fact, Bill makes a snide remark about it in the first episode. But I loved it. Just like writers or John Serrata, who's composing for the show, or the set deck people, or the art department, and the production designer, everyone comes to their job. And that's what I think I was talking about earlier in a collaborative effort, but to bring something a little different to it, and what will give it a little zing and a little zip. And when he said that, I said, great. I said, well, the first thing we did was we Googled whether or not that was historically accurate, and found out it was, that they did have, a lot of them had quite a bit of facial hair. In fact, I got a call from Brad. He said, who okayed this? I said, we did. He said, show me a Mountie with this facial hair back then. And I showed him, he said, I stand corrected. He was, he just wanted to make sure we were we didn't violate the history of the Mountie. The Mountie's very important to this show for all kinds of reasons. I love the uniform. The uniform's great. The character's great. And what he represents is very important to this show. So we didn't want to do anything to violate the uniform or the character. And we felt it was interesting. And the reason he has it is interesting. And the reason he removes it is interesting. And all character revelatory and informative. So.
Wow.
Ooh, yeah.
That's good.
Something as simple as a little Van Dyke.
So we are, I think, reached the end of our time together, and we're.
I was just about to talk to Andrea Brooks's hairdo.
We'll go.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to stop you from talking about hairdos.
There are many more. As interesting and as lovely as it is, there'll be many more things to talk about in future episodes. While I may still be waiting here for the Queen, but she hasn't relaxed her COVID restrictions, and I'm just trying to abide by her regulations. So awesome. I hope you guys like getting together. I really do. It's fun. I like hearing what you think about the show, and as long as it's done kindly.
Well, we're going to dig in, obviously, with the season ahead of us, and there'll be much more, we'll have many more in-depth questions, I know, from the Hearties as the episodes air, and we'll look forward to keep talking with you. And
we'd like to bring you many more people, from props and transportation and all of the behind scenes folks. We'd like to keep doing these things with you and have some of the actors stop by for a spot of tea.
We are here, and the other admins will join us and trade out with us so that you'll get different faces and different questions. And you've already alluded to the importance of tuning in, but we also want to remind Hearties that hashtag Hearties, they're free to use other hashtags too, but the Hearties hashtag is key to us getting those Nielsen trending ratings.
It's so important, so terrifically important. Thank you very much for doing that too, for putting in the effort. Thank you.
It's our pleasure and our delight, and we love what you're doing, John, and super excited. So thank you ever so much for making time. And
absolutely. And we'll get to more folks to talk, and I'll be back too. And there are lots of folks who have very interesting things to say, far more interesting than I do.
I can't believe that. Well, can't believe that.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, this has been Heart to Heart. We'll see you soon. Go watch that season premiere.